Shalom Akim, Shalom, Shalom. All right, this is your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, coming with another lesson through the Spirit. Lord willing, this be edifying to the Lord's elect. Before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wachak, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, whom I've grown in his truth under. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith, and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands, and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, you Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen, and who look like those heathen nations. But your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. I want to say peace and blessings to you all. Shalom, wa chasadim, wa barakyam. Peace, mercy, and blessings to you all. All right, so I was scrolling TikTok, and I came across this video where you got your boy Satan Yahoo, and he's going into the scriptures actually to justify their malicious intentions. All right, which is what you hear Elder Yashawamba go into all the time. These Edomites, they only go into the scriptures in order to justify some wicked atrocity that they wish to fulfill. You see what I'm saying? So before I show you this video, which fair use, I want to clear that. All right, declare that the fair use of the Copyright Act of 1976. Okay, this is for educational purposes only. All right. But as the elder says, these devils only use the scriptures when it's time to justify some wickedness that they finna do. You know what I'm saying? So let me get this started in the book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 1. It reads, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not be able to remove, which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go heartily, for the time is evil." All right, this time that you about to see is going to be evil. Okay? I've been listening all day through YouTube. I was listening to the colonels. All right, one of which was Colonel Douglas McGregor. You know what I'm saying? I've been listening to Scott Ritter. I've been listening to another colonel. You know what I'm saying? And clearly, these Amalekites are behind these attacks. All right, and they're going to lead this world into World War. Excuse me. All right, they're going to lead this world into World War III. All right, and that is prophesied in the book of Jeremiah, the 49th chapter. Let me get that. And Salaki, I'm a little under the weather, so bear with me. So this is Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 20. It reads, "Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." You know what I'm saying? The Lord is allowing, all right, these Amalekites, he's using these Amalekites to bring about the destruction, okay, and to cause World War III. So, as you can see, the video states at the top, Satan Yahoo has now threatened the U.S., saying, "We brought you into this world, and we want, and if we want, we can remove you from it." Okay. So, let's listen to this a little bit.
Said Mike that we are fighting today the battle that the Maccabees fought. They fought for the survival of the Jewish people and the Jewish faith against an enemy that wanted to extinguish us, wipe us out from the face of the earth. We were fighting our battle, but we were also fighting the battle of civilization. Because
now notice this. He mentions the Maccabees. All right? He mentions the battle of the Maccabees. This is our history that he's referring to. This is our history. Okay? Specifically those of the southern tribes. All right? The so-called Negroes. All right? West Indies. Okay? So-called Haitians. This was your history, where the Southern Kingdom had sought to reserve, or to preserve their customs, their laws, their statutes. You see what I'm saying? And so this is clearly, you know what I'm saying, a seizure of identity. You know what I'm saying? Identity. What's the word? A hijacking of one's identity. You know what I'm saying? Identity theft, if you will. All right? So this dude, Benjamin Milikowski, which is his real name, Benjamin Milikowski, is taking on the identity of the Maccabees onto himself. Okay? Which could be nothing more than, nothing further from the truth. And these Christians, these so-called Christians, they'll tell you in a heartbeat that the Apocrypha has nothing to do with the scriptures. So if that's the case, then why is it that these Amalekites are directly referencing this history of the Maccabees, which can only be found in 1st and 2nd Maccabees? You see? And this is why we say, all right, you Christians have nothing more to talk about. You know what I'm saying? You Christians ain't got no leg to stand on. The only thing you can do is ride the coattail of the Hebrew Israelites, the true prophets. You see? Because here it is, all right, your boy Benjamin Satan Yahoo has referenced the Amalekites. Okay, the Amalekites are in the scriptures. They are descendants of Edom. But Christian sanity, all right, this so-called Christianity, they say that Esau, Edom is done away with. You see? So why is Why is B.B. Milikowski going into this history? Why is he mentioning that? You see what I'm saying? And why is he mentioning the Apocrypha, which you so-called Christian pastors, all right, you pastors, you always say that the Apocrypha has nothing to do with the Bible. Okay? So it's a lot of hypocrisy. It's a lot of confusion. You know what I'm saying? And this is why these devils, all right, these devils desperately need to silence the prophets, because the prophets can go into these things. Okay, the prophets can break down these scriptures. The prophets can actually bring clarity to these scriptures. All right, and unlock the mysteries. Okay, the prophets can go into these scriptures and say, "Hey, that's a that's a contradiction there." Okay, and we begin with our apostles, bishops, and elders on down. We can call out these inconsistencies. All right, and they'll be left with nothing. They'll be left having to try to defend their own stance, and they can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So let's go back a little bit.
The battle that the Maccabees fought. They fought for the survival of the Jewish people and the Jewish faith against an enemy that wanted to extinguish us, wipe us out from the face of the earth. We were fighting our battle, but we were also fighting the battle of civilization, because our civilization is based on the Judeo-Christian tradition. And if the Maccabees had failed, there'd be no Judaism, there would be no Judeo-Christian civilization, there would be no Maccabees, there would be no United States, there wouldn't be the civilization of freedom, the respect for our common traditions, our common values. All of that would not happen if it weren't for those 5 brave brothers. They actually made the whole difference. So that spirit animates these brave soldiers that are here today, and their comrades who are fighting in Gaza or in Lebanon or in Iran, wherever is necessary to not only preserve the Jewish nation and the Jewish state, but preserve civilization against the barbarians.
All right, so what 5 brothers is he talking about? Okay, he's talking about the 5 brothers. Okay, the 5 brothers that are mentioned in First Maccabees. This is First Maccabees chapter 2. And let me start at verse 1. It says, "In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joarib, all right, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. And he had 5 sons, Johanan, called Cadiz, Cadiz. Verse 3, he has Simeon called Thassis, Judas also called Maccabeus, Eleazar called Avaran, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphus or Aphus. Slack, I'm trying hard to pronounce this word. Apus. All right, so Apus. Okay. Verse 6, and it says, "And he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem. He said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered unto the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. In the streets, her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? You see? So the five sons that he's referring to are these five sons mentioned. Okay? Again, Johanan, Simeon, Judas, Eleazar, and Jonathan. Okay, these are the five sons. So let me take it back.
Are fighting in Gaza or in Lebanon or in Iraq. Wouldn't be civilization of freedom, the respect for our common traditions, our common values. All of that would not happen if it weren't for those five brave brothers. They actually made the whole difference. So that spirit animates these brave soldiers that are here today and their comrades who are fighting in Gaza or in Lebanon or in Iran, wherever is necessary to not only preserve the Jewish nation and the Jewish state, but preserve civilization against the barbarians. The barbarians are out there. They did a horrible thing to us on October 7th. They'll never do it again. But they're doing it against Jews in Sydney and Jews elsewhere in America and elsewhere. This is our common battle against the barbarians. We have won it here. We're winning it here. We'll win it everywhere. Chag Sameach, Chag Chanukah Sameach Likulchem. Toda rabba lachem. Toda rabba.
All right. We brought you into this world, and if we want, we can remove you from it. So, let me take you to a document, pretty much an interview. All right. So check this out. All right. So this is from the document known as the Master Plan of the Illuminated Rothschilds. Okay. This is an interview that was held between Mr. Ron Patan and Marion Knox. All right. And as I recall, Marion Knox was one of those as a former witness or a victim of the inner circles amongst the illuminated Rothschilds. You know what I'm saying? These people of high stature, you know what I'm saying? We go into the illuminated families, okay, or the Illuminatis, all right, which goes into the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Warburgs, the Gettys, the DuPonts, the Oppenheimers, Sugar Groomers, you know what I'm saying, the Ashtons, so on and so forth, okay? And, you know, you can simply look this, you can look up this interview, all right? The Master Plan of the Illuminated Rothschilds. Okay, you could look that up. And Elder Apostle Gabar, okay, had brought this out a lot of times. This is where I first heard about this. You know what I'm saying? So this part that I want to bring in, all right, I want to touch on is this part right here. Okay, where Ron Patan had asked Marion Knox. He said, "Can you be more specific as to the role that the Rothschilds play into all this?" Marion Knox, he says, "Well, most people who are into conspiracy know that the Rothschilds are the most powerful family in the world, but you really don't hear much about the details relating to how they have set themselves up to be the quote unquote kings, the king of the JOOs, and to usher in the Antichrist. All right, which there is no one person known as the Antichrist. Okay, when you go into the book of uh, 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 when you go into the book of Isaiah chapter 14, and it speaks on Lucifer. Okay, that's talking about a family. All right, that's talking about a whole structure. You see what I'm saying? The illuminated ones. It's not talking about one man because the scriptures tell you that there are many antichrists. You see? So continuing, he says, and to usher in the Antichrist. It was the Rothschilds who financially backed the nation of Israel so they could eventually set up a throne for the Antichrist in Jerusalem. All right, this is where you got the rituals of the red heifer. Okay, this is where you have the Abrahamic Accord. They're trying to build, all right, they're trying to build a temple of their own and to set themselves up to be gods and to have an artificial intelligence God, all right, an AI God that will govern the whole system of this new world of theirs, where everyone on the planet will be augmented, okay, and all tied into this system. So it says it was the Rothschilds who financially backed the nation of Israel so they could eventually set up the throne of the Antichrist in Jerusalem. And yet, during World War II, their money and resources were used to unalive millions of JOOs. But these were seen as the expendable ones from the house of Jacob. Remember, these guys have the audacity to use the Bible as a blueprint to take over the world, and we just saw that. Okay, we just saw that with Benjamin Netanyahu. We just saw that. He just mentioned the Maccabean brothers. Okay, in the book of First Maccabees, the second chapter, he just mentioned that. So you can clearly see that these Amalekites know the Bible, all right, but the point is to use the scriptures in order to establish themselves in a form of authoritative rule. Okay? It says, let me give you some background information. On one level, the Rothschilds secretly call themselves the House of David from the tribe of Judah. Now, Rothschild, translated from German in English to English, means red shield. During biblical times, the Edomite fortress was the Red Rocks of Petra. Okay, the Red Rocks of Petra, which was known in ancient times as Mount Seir. Today it's known as Petra. Okay, so these Amalekites, they know where they come from. They know their origins. You see? Esau, the twin brother of Jacob, was described as quote unquote red and hairy. All right, the scriptures say that he was red like an hairy garment. Okay? So this information fits perfectly with what survivors have been telling me. That on a deeper level, the Rothschilds are also claiming to be descendants of Esau and thus are really in Revelation 3 and really from the tribe of Esau. All right. So in actual fact, the tribe of Amalek of the house of Esau. Okay, Amalek is the head tribe of the house of Esau, just as Jacob is the head tribe of the house of Israel. Okay, this is why they call themselves so-called JOOs, man, because the Jews, refers to the southern tribes. Okay, so it says what they are trying to do is to get the birthright back from the house of Jacob, who are the real JOOs, who are the real Israelites. I'll put it that way. Who are the real Israelites? They know who you are. You so-called Israelites. Excuse me. You Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians. All right. They know who you are. Okay. They know who you are. They've tracked you for a long time. They sent Christopher Columbus in order to find the Northern Kingdom. You see, that's recorded over in Second Esdras, the 13th chapter. That's how Christopher Columbus found this place. All right, this place known as Aseroth before it was known as America. You see, so they know very well who you Israelites are, man. Again, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians, Hispanics, Seminole Indians. They know this. All right. But in order to control the world, you have to subjugate those who are naturally meant to rule it. And the ones who are naturally meant to rule this world are you Israelites. You see what I'm saying? Let me get this in the book of Romans. All right, this is Romans chapter 8 and verse 19. It says, "For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High." You see? So the whole world is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High, man. But I thought these are supposed to be the children of Israel. I thought these posers are supposed to be the chosen. But the scriptures state that the world is still earnestly waiting for the Israelites to be reestablished in their proper place. You see what I'm saying? So going back, you see, the twin brother of Jacob was described as, I'm starting right here, all right, who was described as red and hairy. So this information fits perfectly with what survivors have been telling me. That on a deeper level, the Rothschilds are also claiming to be descendants of Esau and thus are really from the are really from the tribe of Amalek of the house of Esau. All right, I wanted to clarify that. All right, these elite families are of the tribe of Amalek from the house of Edom. These are 13 families that we're talking about, man. Okay, and they hold the most influence. It says what they are trying to do is to get the birthright back from the house of Jacob, who are the real Israelites. In Revelation chapter 3, verse 9, it says, "Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet. Okay. Now, of course, the actual meaning of that was referring to the Israelites, all right, of the ruling class who were being hypocrites. Okay. But this can also be used in regards to these imposters. Okay, so this is a twofold scripture. So it says, then I asked the question, who is the synagogue of Satan? And the only logical conclusion I could come up with is the Illuminati Rothschilds. Okay, so now let's look at some other things. Mayor Amschel Rothschild, all right, Mayor Amschel Rothschild had 5 sons. And in order to keep the wealth in the family, there was a lot of inbreeding, like what the European royal families did. One of their hobbies was horse racing, and they were known to be horse breeders as well. I think this may have given them additional insight into purifying their bloodline. Normally, you would think that reborn inbreeding would bring degeneration to the genetic pool, but they had the mindset to eliminate the weak ones and save the ones who were strong and healthy. So this is part of their master plan to improve the genetics in order to have a superior bloodline. Okay? So, and many of the brotherhood, you know what I'm saying, we believe that Mayor Amschel Rothschild was Esau Edom. All right, it was Esau himself coming back in the reincarnation. And I can see that. I can see that because he became the progenitor of the Rothschild family. And he had 5 sons, the same way Esau had the 5 dukes of Edom. So this is something profound and can only be perceived through the spirit. All right? And there's a reason why these jokers like Benjamin Milikowski is talking about the history of the Maccabees. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to hold on to this identity that they have acquired for themselves. You see what I'm saying? Trying to assume the identity of the true Israelites. And to do what? And to control the world under this false identity. You see? As a matter of fact, let me get this here. Let's end this in the book of Second Esdras. All right. Let's see. All right, so this is the Second Esdras, chapter 6 and verse 27. It says, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. And the truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared. All right? So, I'm going to cut that there, man. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. You know what I'm saying? Look this up, man. The master plan of the illuminated Rothschilds, man. Okay? It was an interview between Ron Patton and Marion Knox. Read this, you know what I'm saying? It's very insightful. So I'm going to cut that there. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elective nation of Israel. This has been your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In closing, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruchak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who teach well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. All right, Shalom.